What would you do if the world told you you're too old to try something new?
Like, I've broken bones already through skating.
Meet Kaz. She took up skateboarding in her 50s, and at 57 years old, despite the risks, she's proving the naysayers wrong.
All I worry about is how quick can I recover to get back on my board. That's all I ever think about.
But it's not just about skateboarding. Kaz's journey is about mental health, resilience, and the power of pushing limits at any age.
What's kept me and pushed me in skateboarding is mental health. It's been a very big thing for me because suffering from mental health and then it being exacerbated through COVID, that was something that I found that got me out of my head and into a happy place.
For people that are naysayers or telling you you shouldn't be doing this or doing that, do you have a response to them?
That's the worst thing that they could tell me, because the more they say to me, you can't do it or don't do it or take up a new sport, I'll push against them and I'll prove them wrong.
She's 57 years old and she's doing that, then I can do that, you know. She's always inspiring me.
This isn't just a story about skateboarding. It's about defying limits and rewriting what's possible as we age.
If you don't get up off your ass and move and keep your body going, use it or lose it. And it's very true.
Welcome back to Youthful Aging Secrets. I'm your host, Ricardo Vasquez. And today's episode is one that will make you rethink what it means to age and challenge the limits society often places on us. Today, I'm speaking with two incredible women who are breaking boundaries in both life and sport, Kaz and her daughter, Britt. Let me tell you about Kaz. In her 50s and now at 57, when most people are told to slow down, Kaz decided to speed up. She picked up skateboarding, a sport known for its risk and challenges. She's broken bones, felt embarrassed, faced doubters, and still, she gets back on the board, determined to keep pushing her limits. Kaz embodies resilience, a fearless mindset, and the belief that you're never too old to start something new. In this episode, we dive into how Kaz went from martial arts expert to a skateboarding enthusiast, the mental and physical benefits that keep her going, and the mindset that helps her push past fear even after injuries. You'll also hear from her daughter, Britt, who's been with her every step of the way, as they talk about how this incredible journey has brought them closer together. If you've ever thought you're too old to try something or you've been held back by fear, this episode is for you. Kaz's story will inspire you to take on new challenges and embrace life at any age. So get ready to be motivated by one of the most fearless women I've ever had the privilege of speaking to. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to quickly share something with you. My free 5 health hacks newsletter. If you're someone who wants to live as healthy as possible for as long as possible, but don't always have time to listen to every podcast episode or keep up with the latest health and longevity research, this newsletter is for you. Each week, I send you a quick, actionable newsletter featuring an inspiring quote, a summary of the latest podcast episodes, a breakdown of a health topic backed by the latest research, a few of my favorite discoveries and recommendations for that week, and a question to get you thinking deeper. It's designed to be read in the time it takes you to enjoy your morning coffee. If you're interested, please head over to youthfulagingsecrets.com/subscribe to join for free. Let's get it. So welcome to the show, Kaz and Britt.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys being here. So right now we're from Toronto to Australia, so we're in a little bit of a time zone difference. You guys are pretty much a day ahead, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So at Youthful Aging Secrets, the whole idea here basically is the idea of longevity, health span, trying to be as healthy as possible for as long as possible. And so that's where I came across you guys. I was really impressed with Kaz because you started embarking in a new challenge with his skateboarding, which is tricky enough for any age really, but you have this mindset of it doesn't matter what age you can always get after it. And so I want to start at the beginning with how you got started into that, but just in general, your mindset around health and fitness and aging and limitations around that. And maybe you guys can give me a backstory on how it all started.
Again, the latest with us, I wanted to start skating. I've always wanted to skate, but I've always been too scared. And then when I got to around 30, I thought I'm not getting any younger, so I'm just going to go for it. And I know my mum had done a little bit of skateboarding. So I don't know, do you want to explain your history with?
Yeah, okay. So when I first picked up a skateboard, I was probably about 8. but only back in those days, there was no skate parks. It was just street skating. I only skated for probably about a year as a kid, but nothing, forget it. It was almost like I just picked it up and I wanted to do it, but picked up other sports. But then what happened was, I think it was just after COVID, which is when Britt came up with the idea of, hey, let's do skateboarding together. And I was like, I've always loved skateboarding. It's always been something I wanted to do, but never got into it because Brittany and I also come from a martial arts background as well. So we've been practicing that for many years. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. And that was, a year and a half ago. And it's just evolved from there. But also I just want to add, for me personally, what's kept me and pushed me in skateboarding is mental health. It's been a very big thing for me because suffering from mental health and then it being exacerbated through COVID, that was something that I found that got me out of my head and into a happy place and just got me motivated, and we just went from there. I wasn't sure how I was going to go with it, but once we got out and got started, it was just something that just got into your blood. It's just, no, got to keep doing this. I want to get better.
Yeah,
I want to do more. And that's where it really started.
Yeah.
Britt's idea.
That's actually really cool. So you mentioned martial arts. I'm just curious, what martial arts are you guys into?
Okay, so we do a style called Ajuken Karate. That's based on Shotokan, which is a Japanese style. So Brittany's father, who is my ex-husband, he's our karate instructor. So I've been training for about 7 years now and I've got a 6 dan in karate. And Brittany, you can take over because you can tell when you got your black belt and how long you've been doing it now.
I started as soon as I could or I was allowed to, so probably since 5 years old, I think. And then I had breaks in between as I got older. I had a daughter of my own. And then after my daughter was maybe 2 years old, I got back into it. At that point, I only ever got up to my brown 2, which is just before black belt. And then, I started training hard again and then got my black belt 2 years ago?
Nearly 2 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. But so majority of my life, I've been doing martial arts as well.
Congrats on the black belt. I know it's a long road.
Thank you.
I'm a lifelong martial artist myself, so you piqued my interest. I actually grew up I did Shotokan karate and judo and aikido as a kid. My father, uncle, and them, they were all longtime black belts in karate and judo. So I started in the traditional Japanese martial arts as well. And now I do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, wrestling, more MMA style, you could say. So
yeah.
It's just for fun, but just like you mentioned, for me, it's just as effective cognitively than it is physically. And people don't find, I think people, unless you do it, it doesn't make sense because it's like, how can a physical impact the mental? But it's just as much mental as it is physical, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, it goes hand in hand for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's been such a massive aspect of, not only martial arts, but skateboarding for us is that it's physically so challenging but so rewarding, and the benefits you get from that, I think it's I don't know, we've gained so much from it so far. Our first ever drop in that we learned, so our first big achievement, I just remember buzzing and the adrenaline that you get from that, and then there's just so much to it.
That's really awesome. So I have a question for you, Kaz, with respect to starting something new, especially when you're talking about skateboarding, which is, it's not an easy thing to start. I guess when anything that involves a lot of balance and the high margin for injury because if you fall, you can hurt yourself. How did you get over the hurdle of obviously falling? And anything you do when you start, let's just face it, everybody sucks at the beginning. It's just, that's part of the process. How did you overcome that and not be succumb to excuses like, I'm too old for this or whatever? I'm just curious how your mindset wrapped around it.
I think you've got to be almost born with that mindset, I think. It's always been in me. I've always been, certain areas of things are a bit tough in that sense when it comes to injury. I've always I've got the fear there. That's just a normal human thing to be fearful of it. But it's the never being fearful enough. I've broken bones already from skating. I've had a broken shoulder and a broken foot. Each time I've broken a bone, it's never scared me to a point where I'm oh my God, I'm not going to get back on the board because what if I fall and break another bone? It never comes into play. My love for the sport overtakes the fear of injury. All I worry about is how quick can I recover to get back on my board. That's all I ever think about. It never puts me off to the point where I'm like, oh no, I'm never going to do that again. And also for me, a bit of a driving force is I've had a lot of people, especially my physicians, tell me every time I've gone in with an injury, Karyn, you're in the wrong sport. That's the worst thing that they could tell me, because the more they say to me, you can't do it or don't do it or take up a new sport, I'll push against them and I'll prove them wrong. Even when I've gone to the radiology department to have my scans done on my bones when I've broken them, they're like, you can hear them whispering in the background and laughing almost. What is this woman crazy? Why does she think she's doing at this age? And then that just makes me more determined, in a sense, to prove them wrong. That I can push. Yeah, I know I'm not young. I know I'm getting older. And I know that my risk of breaking a bone is higher than someone younger than me. And my recovery time's going to be more. But if I was to let that stop me, then I may as well not do anything. I'll just go for a walk every day, or I'll stay at home and knit. But then again, it's one of those things I think with aging is that if you don't get up off your ass and move and keep your body going, you will. You use it or lose it. And it's very true. You keep yourself, not just physically, but your mentally plays such a big part as well. It's not just the physical, it's very mental as well. To be honest, I think my martial arts background has also strengthened me in a sense, and it helps with injury. I've had a lot of injuries through martial arts as well. Obviously not as bad, but it's still pain's pain and when you get hurt. But it's toughened me. Martial arts does. It toughens you. It's a discipline. It's a contact sport. And I think maybe for you too, Britt, that could be the same could be said. But I was just born with that mindset. It doesn't matter whatever I do, whatever I pick, whatever sport I pick up. Obviously, you're going to have the passion for it, but I'll always strive. I want to be better. I want to be the best. I've got to be better. It's not then competing against anybody else, but against what I can do myself. I push myself. Okay, now I know I've got limitations. I'm realistic. I know that I'm only going to get so far and that's where I'll have to stay, but I'm happy with that. So that's probably what's driven me. And yeah, I was born that way. And hey, when you've got a passion for something, that's all you need. That's the driving force right there.
Because especially combat sports, like the type of martial arts where you're sparring and there's more live sparring, I think it produces that inside of you, or you build that, you harness that, because you're going to lose, you're going to get hurt, you're going to get hit, you're going to be scared, you're going to get embarrassed sometimes, especially in grappling, like in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specifically and wrestling. You will have, I encourage women to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I think it's one of the best bases for, especially in a world where if a guy's trying to attack you or something, just because if it ends on the ground, it's probably the best martial arts. Yeah. And I've had girls that are like half my size put me in a choke and I have to tap out. And as a man in before in his 20s, I was so embarrassed, right? It's just, I'm like a little guy like half my size, like absolutely kicking my ass. So I'm like, okay, it really tames the ego, and it helps you have that mental toughness to keep pushing forward. It also makes you a better person in general, just to be nice.
Yeah, it does.
So I agree with what you're saying. Britt, when you hear your mom saying that, how does that make you feel, like to hear her mindset and the way she talks about it? What's your feeling around that?
It's definitely inspiring, and she's a great role model for me. I think I see how she thinks about things, and like when I watch her skate and when she does fall and she gets back up, I'm like, if she's 57 years old and she's doing that, then I can do that. But yeah, she's always inspiring me.
Yeah, I bet, for sure. That's great to be that role model. And I'm sure that makes you feel great to know that you're having that impact on your daughter, because when there's somebody watching you, you're probably like, I got to keep pushing just to show her.
Oh, no, it's exactly that. And something on that topic, but off a bit, when we just skated just a couple of days ago, and there was a couple of students down there with a skate teacher, and the girls, I want to say they were probably about 13 maybe, and the teacher was teaching them how to acid drop off this little ledge, and Brittany's really helped me to overcome my fear of doing acid drops. On the weekend, I was like to her, just hold my hand a couple of times, I'll get over it. Then she goes, you got that on your own, Mum? And I was like, yeah, I got that. And then Britt went off and skated, and these two little girls were trying to practice off this thing. And then Miss Confidence was coming through and just acid dropping off this little drop. And I could see the look on the girls' faces was almost like, wow, look at that older lady. What is she doing? It's that thing of, you can see that in the younger ones when they don't expect it from me. but I can see that they're inspired by that. And every time we're out with Britt and Britt, when I learn a new trick or make a new game, when Britt congrats me for it, and I can see how much she derives from that, and I'm just like, oh, wow, that's so cool that I can see Britt getting excited for what I've learned, and I can see that she's inspired by that. And this journey that we're on now, and the people that we have inspired, has been amazing. I would never have thought that. Never went into it for that. It's just turned out that way.
Yeah, I think we created our Instagram page as initially it was for ourselves as like a way to just track our progress. And I think if we put it up online, it's okay, we have to keep going. We can't give up. There's something there and we can see where we started and where we're going. And then slowly it started turning into, okay, this is going somewhere. And then people started following us. And I, of course, like from the beginning, I was like, my mum's amazing skateboarding at this age. But then other people started commenting on it as well and saying, whoa, wait, how old is she? And she's just learning to skate. That's incredible. And then, yeah, it's really interesting to see how many people, more so Kaz, has inspired, and she's just very influential with the things that she's doing.
It inspired me for sure. What's cool is I do a lot of these. So I interview experts in whatever field in health. Could be I have a psychologist I just did, and I have another like surgeon coming up. And so these different walks of life. But I also deal with what's called super agers, people that are doing incredible things for their age. I have this boxer dude who's almost 80. And you'll see that come out soon. And he's still hitting the bags. He doesn't spar as much, but if you see how he moves, you're like, this guy is very young still. And he has the exact same mindset. That's something I notice across everybody I'm speaking with in that arena, is they all have this mindset of, I'm not too old. And it's the more people tell them don't do this, the more they dig their heels like, I'm not going to listen.
That's why I said, yeah, you push against it. Don't tell me I can't do it, because I'll prove you wrong.
But you also inspire people who are younger, who are going to get there, hopefully. And then they have this mindset of, oh, it's possible. Because unless you think it's possible, because we're taught to have this image in our mind that as we get older, we're going to be needing help and we're going to just be like basically useless. That's this like stigma that we have. But when you see this different mindset, it creates this new belief system. I don't have to be like that. Obviously, we're all getting older. I'm not in denial, right? It's not about being in denial. It's also not being like just accepting that you're just going to be basically like almost handicapped. Like, why can't I learn a new skill?
No, that's right. Exactly. And your body will tell you what you can do anyway when you're out doing something. There's things that Brittany does that I can't do. Just, I don't know, like, but whether it's physical or mental or combination of both, you just know your limitations. You're not silly about things. That's why a lot of people will... Sometimes I'll get negative comments when it comes to my age about my bone density and this, that, and the other. And I'm actually not that stupid. I'm actually quite aware of where I am physically. So I never push beyond, more so now that I'm getting more experienced in skateboarding, I'm getting smarter at knowing what I have to pick, what I can do, where I'm going to do it, surface area, all that kind of stuff, because you just become a bit smarter about it. You know, who wants to get injured? No, nobody wants to get injured. That's again too with me, like when the doctors have said to me, you really need to do something different. And I've gone, okay, when I was 29, I used to ride horses and I had a very serious accident off a horse, and more serious than I've ever had off of skateboarding. And all the injuries I've had through karate, car accidents, whatever, you name it. You could get injured doing anything. There's no doubt that when you pick up a skateboard, that is a bit of a high risk. And depending on what you're going to do too, if you're just rolling around on flat ground, yeah, you can still hit a pebble, fall and break a foot. It's the nature of it.
It's funny though, we were laughing because a lot of the comments on the videos, especially of Mum, are like, oh, you'll fall once and break a bone, or you'll die, or you'll never skate again. And we just laugh because, like she said, she's already broken 2 bones. And after her first break, she was already like, she was sitting on the side just going, oh, yeah, maybe I can still skate. Like it's just, I think people do have this preconceived idea that it's, yeah, as soon as you hit over the age of 50, you can't do anything. Like, and oh, God forbid if you do fall over, you're like, that's it for you. And Mum's just proving them wrong, really.
Yeah. Well, I'll keep proving them wrong.
Yes.
I love that mindset. So for people that are naysayers or telling you you shouldn't be doing this or doing that, do you have a response to them, or you just hate them, not hate them, brush them off and say it's just a hater, as they say, right?
Yeah, sometimes I'll still bite back on a comment, but for the most part, I just laugh because everyone's entitled to their opinion. And I think when you're on social media, you're putting yourself out there for that anyway. People can say what they want, but for the most part, 99.9% of comments and feedback's always positive. You always get that bit of negative, and that's completely fine. Because at the end of the day, I don't allow myself to be affected by what other people say. They can say whatever they want. It doesn't matter who they are. The way, and Britt said it too, like what I find and what Britt finds is that a lot of people that will make comments are the negative ones. These are people that have never been on a skateboard. So they don't really know. They just go base visually what they see or what they have learned or know about it, but have never actually ridden a board themselves to know. But they're always very quick to comment. But yeah, no, I don't hate on them. I actually just laugh. I think it's funny.
I think most of the time when there are negative comments, I feel like it is a projection of their own insecurities or whatever. So I think jealousy, insecurities, whatever it may be, but I think we just wish them the best and hopefully they can overcome those negative ideas.
I think what's interesting too, I don't know about you, Britt, but I think what I've found is that actually some guys get a bit salty about seeing girls, especially in skateboarding, achieving and doing things that's almost, hang on, how can you be doing that? This is a male-dominated sport, and which it is, but there's a lot of very good female skaters out there. So
you're breaking all the stereotypes.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, I haven't, so far out here in Sydney where we skate, I think I'm the oldest, definitely the oldest woman.
Yeah, it's rare to see women in general skating, let alone someone at your age.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think that's a good approach. Just let them go on. And I like what you said. I was actually going to say that. I think it's projecting their own insecurities. And oftentimes they want evidence to justify their fear, because oftentimes it comes from fear. So they don't want to do it because they're afraid, or they don't have that courage. And so instead of facing that, they want things to validate it, because it's much harder to face it. So now when they see someone that's like in their face, basically saying, no, you're wrong, you can do this, it is challenging them. It's like attacking their own ego. So I think you're absolutely right. I think it's a projection of their own insecurities as to why people are like nasty online. And sometimes it's just people BSing just for the sake of it, like maybe a little.
I get bored. Yeah. Have nothing better to do.
Yeah, they're trying to get the bite. They're fishing for that bite. They want you to react.
Listen, sometimes there's probably like a 10-year-old behind that old, like a picture of an older person they think it's funny to talk crap online. So you got to remember that, right?
Yeah.
Just look like they follow 4,000 people and they're followed by 2. So
something doesn't look right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I hear you. So you mentioned in the beginning about mental health with respect to this helping and everything. Could you dive a little deeper into that? Maybe how it helped you with the whole mental health aspect of it?
Yeah. Okay. So for me, I have generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder. I would find that with my mental health, I had a massive fear of being out of my comfort zone. So I'd have avoidance. So to me, anywhere that I had to go or whatever, you're like, oh no, I can't. I'd just get so in my head about things that half the battle was just getting out the door to get out of my head. What I found was with skating, I won't lie, probably the first, I want to say 6 months out skating was such a struggle, because I would be so in my head and it was like, how am I going to get out of this? And then I just found that as with time, I allowed myself to get so involved in what I was doing, so engaging with life, with the skateboard, distracted me. So I was so focused on the job at hand. Okay, now I've got to learn this new trick, or I've got to do this or do that, that my focus was so driven on that then I could just be out of my head. I was then no longer battling with this thought or this feeling. I was so focused then on what I was doing. The same could be said for any sport that anyone's doing with mental health. It's just that engaging with the job at hand, with life, getting out there and doing, just so that you're not so hyper-focused on how terrible you feel.
Yeah, I think it does. Skateboarding takes so much of your focus and energy. That's the only thing you can think about.
Yeah.
So all your other worries and stress, whatever it is, it goes out the window when you're skateboarding, because you're solely just thinking about that.
Yeah, it's true.
Yep. I've had my battles with anxiety as well. And I totally agree. Something that takes your full concentration. You don't have the bandwidth to even focus on anything else because you're so locked and loaded on that. Something like skateboarding specifically. I find anything that involves a high level of balance and coordination like keeping your balance, requires a lot of focus. So even I work out at the gym, and if I'm doing like a single leg exercise trying to balance, I find that I have to I cannot think about anything else. I have to be zoned in. So I can imagine with something like that, a high degree of risk that you almost don't have the ability to be anxious. I got to focus on this shit or I'm going to hurt myself.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, no, you do. 100%.
You got to lock in, right?
Definitely do.
But what about like the social aspect for you as well in terms of mental health and stuff?
Yeah, definitely. The socially, when we first got out in and started skating, once we got out and started meeting new people and got involved in the skate community, that I found that was just a massive help as well, because everyone's so kind and helpful, and then that gets you out of your head as well, because you're engaging on a social level then. So you're skating and then you stop skating and then you go socialize and you talk about what you've done or what you could do to improve, and that's been massive as well. Massive help.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but for me, I feel like human connection is such an important thing for mental health, like having good friends and being surrounded by good people. I think with skateboarding, that what we found is that everyone's on the same level, in the sense that we're all there doing the same thing and everyone's so encouraging and uplifting. It's such a big part, I think.
Yeah,
it's a social. Yeah.
It's massive.
Yeah, absolutely. I know a lot of people that come into the community in mixed martial arts, and they come in with a specific goal in mind, whether it's kickboxing or grappling, but they end up staying oftentimes because of the community. There's all that like social connection of like-minded people. Everyone's encouraging everybody else, and it pulls you back in. So sometimes it's not even about the skateboarding itself, correct if I'm wrong, or the thing itself, which of course is a big part, but it's also the community. I don't want to let down, because now you have this accountability. I'm going to look like a failure. I got to push through. I told them I'll be there on Saturday. I got to show up. So I think community. That's really cool. So the community is supportive of your participation, and they probably want to see you, right?
Oh, yeah, always. Yeah, they're just always encouraging me and they're lifting me up. And yes, it's so good. They're all so lovely. I don't get no judgment from them.
Isn't it funny that you get the judgment from people that aren't even doing the thing, but yet the people doing the thing are encouraging you? That's fun. It's something to think about,
100%.
Right?
I think with skaters too, they understand how difficult it is. And I'm sure other people that don't skate can probably have some kind of understanding, but unless you've tried it and you do realize how difficult it is, you don't have that same level as respect.
You don't.
Skaters, they respect you because they know how hard it is, but then seeing someone over the age of 50 learning to skate, it's like the respect's up here.
I'll tell you what, I know very little about skateboarding. I've tried it. Obviously, as a kid, I was always a daredevil. Never enough to say I'm a skateboarder, just trying it. But I can tell you that anybody that participates in a sport that has a high level of risk, like a martial arts, I guarantee you they will respect and admire it, because they know, I know that shit's hard, because this is hard, and they understand the process of learning. So absolutely, you'll get respect from many disciplines. It wouldn't just be skateboarding, but of course, with having that direct experience, they could probably even relate to it more. Oh man, I don't know how she feels when she hits that.
Yeah.
Do you do anything else outside from skateboarding and the martial arts to basically strengthen your body, reduce risk of injury or rehab? And do you do any weightlifting, body weight, anything?
Yeah, I go to gym twice a week and just do weights. Just trying to keep just to keep strength, keep tone, muscle tone. I walk a lot as well. And diet as well plays a big part. What you're putting into your system. I'm always mindful of what I'm eating. Yeah, and just try to keep my body. I always look at that with going to the gym now. I figure like if I can keep that some good strength, upper body strength, that's also going to aid me in my skateboarding as well. Like it helps. Everything that you do helps. Your walking, your karate, gym, they all go hand in hand. They all help each other. So, and diet as well. And yes, it's always going to still come back to your mindset. It's such a big thing in how you approach things, how you do things, why you do things. It's massive.
Yeah, and how about you, Britt? Do you engage in anything else outside of those two?
Currently, not really. I used to play a lot of basketball, but I haven't done that probably for over a year now. But as I said, I'm a single mum. So I'm very active in other ways. I'm constantly moving around. I also work at a special needs school and I'm always running around with the kids. And so it's not a set activity, but I am very active in other ways.
That's cool. So going back to the diet thing, could you give me an idea of what you eat and what you avoid? Do you have a certain type of diet you follow that you could share with me?
No, I wouldn't say really I have a sort of a strict sort of diet that I follow, but I don't. So I wouldn't say I'm 100% vegetarian, but I'd say 95%. I don't eat red meat. If I do eat meat, it's a little bit of chicken, but other than that, it's just a lot of mostly plant-based for me, and lots of agua, lots of water. And what else do I have? Oh, avoidance. Although we all love our sugar, for me, and I know for most people, but for me personally, it's toxic to my system. As much as I love it, if I have sugar, I'll be down for days. So I try to avoid where I can and just keep more plant-based and, lots of water. But I don't really supplement as much. So every now and again, I might supplement with something, bit of magnesium or multivitamin. But other than that, I don't. I just rely on, I think, just trying to balance out with what you're eating, how, like with exercise, that's going to help, because it all, one goes into the other. Because I think if you're eating bad diet, you're a bit overweight or whatever, that's really going to hinder whatever you're doing. And not just with skateboarding. I've always been like that anyway. I've always been pretty hard on myself when it comes to what I eat. Right. I'm not one for junk food. Very seldom do I have takeout, like fast food. Never been big into that. So, and like when we go skating, we'll be out, so we could be out from, say, 9 o'clock in the morning till 5, 6 at night, maybe even longer. We don't eat. We're just so caught up. No, we're so caught up in the skating that we literally don't stop to eat. But that's just because we're so engaged. But I'd say for me, it's not a strict thing. That's pretty much. I eat well.
She eats very well.
Yeah. I don't eat a lot, but I eat well.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So it sounds like you have naturally what they call like a caloric restriction diet, which just basically means that you're eating below what you're expending. And so it helps keep you at a certain level so you're not gaining weight, etc.
It always is. Around my age now, it's harder for menopausal women with weight. That's a known thing that menopausal women have a tendency of gaining weight, have a lot of trouble shifting it. And that's why I've got to work just that little bit harder now, just to make sure that I keep moving so I'm not gaining weight. And I'm always under my calories every day, what I should be having, but my body's used to it.
Do you track your calories or you just get it?
I have at times, not always. I know, like, probably for my physical activity, I probably should be on about 1,500 calories a day, probably thereabouts, but I'm always way under it because I only tend to eat one main meal a day. Like, I'll have a small breakfast and then I'll just eat around 6, my main meal, and that's only small, and then that's it. Don't eat anymore.
You could probably do with some more calories.
I probably could, but again, it's just that thing of me trying to force myself to eat, and I just listen to my body, basically. When it's hungry, I eat. If I'm not hungry, I don't eat.
And I will make a suggestion, something for you to consider too, is if you added maybe 3 strength training days a week, like you said, twice a week, I believe you said, where you focus on resistance training specific for the purpose of like building muscle, that will really help you mitigate injuries, increase bone density, and probably improve your overall performance. And it doesn't have to be long. These could be like 30-minute sessions. So just something to think about. They call it hypertrophy program, where you're like lifting heavy and try to get stronger over time. I put my mom on something, and it's made a tremendous difference. And she thought, oh, I don't want to get bulky. I'm like, Mom, there's men with high testosterone that takes them forever to put on pounds of muscle. So it doesn't work like that. It's not that easy. I just told her it's stronger, and you'll see, and she's recovered from injuries faster. She's stronger, has more energy. So just a thought anyways, because I think it could improve your performance for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I'll try that.
Increases bone density. That is actually a known factor. And women and men, doesn't matter what age, they can still increase bone density and increase muscle mass. Doesn't matter the age.
Yeah.
So it's good to know.
Yeah, listen, thank you. I'll get my son onto that because I usually go to the gym with him, and he's actually been on my case about it before when I first started going with him. Mum, you need to lift heavier.
Yes.
I'm like, I can't do it. I'm so weak. He goes, no, lower reps but heavier weights. And I'm like, I just can't do it. But yeah, he's right. And so I get what you're saying with that. So yeah, it's definitely something else.
Yeah, I'll send you a cool link to this guy I follow, and he's got like an app and stuff that you can look into, and maybe you'll find that it's good. It doesn't have to be long.
Yeah.
Now, with
Yeah,
respect to
brilliant.
sleep, how's your sleep like? What's your sleep schedule? How much do you sleep? That kind of thing. You guys all sleep. What's sleep?
I do. Yeah. No, I'm terrible. Just talking about it after class last night at karate, we're talking about a lot of the guys there are struggling with sleep. And I said, yeah, me too. I said, I can fall asleep really easy. I said, but I wake up multiple times through the night and then I struggle to get back. That is because I have a very active mind. So the brain tends to not want to switch off. You know what I mean? And sometimes too, I'm very wired but tired. So the body wants to sleep, but my brain won't let me sleep. So that's probably something I struggle with a bit, to be honest.
Yeah, I think most people that identify with anxiety also have that issue because it's like the mind doesn't shut off.
That's right.
I was going to say, do you have anything that works for you to help you unwind and just pass out?
Oh, look, I've got meditation. I've got some wind downs that I listen to. And then what I find is that I just need to limit my screen time at night, because if I'm on my laptop and I'm exposed to it for a certain period, that will interfere with my sleep as well. So maybe it's a bit of meditation. Sometimes I'll just put something on my phone if it's really bad, and then I'll just blacken my screen, just that I've just got something in the background, something meditative to listen to, just to try and wind me down, just quieten my mind a little bit. But I don't take anything like sleeping aids or anything like that. We were talking about melatonin for sleep last night, but I've never tried it.
And how about you, Britt? I remember your mom had said you're not a morning person, which tells me you like to sleep.
I do love to sleep. I nap a lot.
Yeah, she nana naps. I'm a nana, but she takes the nana naps.
I don't have any issues with sleeping. I suppose because I'm not to say you're not busy during the day, but I'm so busy and active constantly, and my work's really like tiring. I have no problem getting to sleep, and then I'll continue to sleep unless I have an alarm set. I'll keep sleeping. I love my sleep.
Yeah, that's cool. But another thing about what I said with the weight training, when you do like heavy weight, or I should say resistance, because resistance can be in many forms, doesn't have to be weight. But when you're exerting yourself, like really pushing it near failure, I find I knock out at the end of the day, because your nervous system's taxed, your mind is taxed. And finally, when you lay down, it's almost like you just don't have the energy anymore for your mind to keep going. So that's another reason for it.
You have to be mindful of that.
Yeah. And is there any other plans that you have to take on any new skills, or are you obsessed and in love with this one that you just want to keep pushing forward with it? Because it seems like you're obsessed with it.
Yeah, and I'm obsessed with skateboarding. I even said to Britt about a week ago, I said, skateboarding has now taken over karate. Yes. Which you got to remember too, like I've been doing karate for 37 years. So now with skateboarding, it's challenging me in a different way. So I'm rising to the new challenge. I'm learning something new. So yeah, I've got no interest anywhere else but the skateboarding.
So I'm guessing you watch videos, you watch other people doing their thing, and you're like, oh man, I want to try that. So it's really got your feet immersed.
Like for Britt and I think we've both kind of, so the ollie, trying to learn how to ollie for us has just been such a challenge. It's like there's that one trick that we just haven't got there. So we watch tutorial after tutorial, watch this video, that video, ask this guy, that guy, what tips can you give us? Oh, do this, do that. It's all the same thing. And in your brain, it's such a timing thing, but it's just it's just one of those things. One day it'll just click in, right?
I think there's so much to learn in skateboarding. There's so many tricks, and it's once you learn one trick, then that opens up. I saw this thing, it was like a web. So you learn one trick and then it branches out to all these other tricks you can learn. And I think that's what keeps you at it. You just want to keep learning new things. And I think with martial arts, not more so for my mum, because she's gone so far with it, I still have a lot to learn, I think. But you've learned so much already within martial arts, and
stalemate.
Yeah. But skating, it's new, and
yeah, it's, as I said, there's more to learn. I've got so much to learn and stuff that I'll never learn. I know that. But with karate, I've got there, and I just feel like I've just plateaued now. And I've done a lot over my time too, like with competition and being there, done it. And it's really so much with the skateboarding, having that background in martial art with balance and having the concept of timing. And yeah, it's been a massive thing.
When you got injured, did you continue to skate or were you forced to stop?
Me? Yeah, no, I was I was forced to stop with both for a time period until they healed, because the first time I fell, my first break was my shoulder. I broke that in 2 places. However, I want to say about 3 weeks into that injury, I was in a sling and Britt and I'd be out and I'd be filming and I'd go, let me just get on the board, Britt. No, Mum, don't get on. And I'm like, no, just let me get on. I'll just roll around. I'll be fine.
Yeah, I go into the parent roll and I'm like, no, that's not safe. Let me fall.
So I'd still be on the board rolling around in the sling. So then I got better from that. And then I broke my foot and tore all the tendons in my ankle. That was a bad one because I was in a moon boot for 7 weeks. But then even towards the end of that 7 week, I want to say around week 4, we're at the skate park and I said, come on, Britt, I've got to get on the board. She goes, Mum, you can't. I said, no, just help me pump inside here. I said, look, just let me get on and do it. Do a bit of pump.
Yeah, there's
something.
There's a video somewhere of her on the skateboard with a moon boot and I'm holding her hand still. So there's literally no stopping her.
Yeah, just let me feel what it feels like. I was even at karate in my moon boot, walking around helping, and I was even going on my walks in a moon boot. People were looking at me like, this lady's crazy. She's walking in a moon boot. Because it's it's will, right? So it's the power of your mind. If you say, oh, I've got that injury and I'm never going to do that again, or you need to look after it. I understand that. You need to baby it to a degree. But I find that if you baby it too much, for me personally, it makes my recovery much longer if I sit on it too much and don't try and use it.
Yeah, I think the overarching theme I'm hearing here is passion as well. Like you have something bigger than you that's driving you or pulling you towards it. And so even when you have a setback, you just drawn to it. And I think there's definitely something to that.
100%. And it's the thing too, some things I've tried, big drop-ins and stuff like that. I'm always when I'm at that anticipation, just when you're at the top and you're just about to drop and you have some scenarios go through your head. Like if I eat shit, which I potentially could, this could happen and that could happen. But then you've got to quickly snap your mindset out of that, because that's where you'll stuff yourself up, thinking too much about the what ifs could go wrong with it. And you've just got to commit to it. That's what I found has been the biggest thing, is just committing to it. You deal with it, the rest of it after. If you fall, and because there's so many ifs about anything you do in life. It doesn't matter what, it's skateboarding, walking, riding a horse, motorbike, whatever. There's always a what if this could happen.
I think the rewards that you get from skateboarding outweigh the risks. So it's even when we know we can fall or we do fall, it's in comparison to what we get from skateboarding, the positives we get from it, that's nothing. So you fall and break a bone, it's obviously that sucks, but it sucks that we can't skate. That's what sucks about it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
We just got to get back to it.
Yeah, because a broken bone will mend. My biggest thing for me in skateboarding, so we've had a lot of people say or comment and go, oh, you need to get yourself some pads, like elbow pads and knee pads. Yeah, okay, I get it. I've worn them. A lot of the times when I fall and I've got them on and I fall, they'll shift and I end up hurting myself anyway. Mine's always been my head, protecting my head. Always the biggest thing, because I work with people with acquired brain injuries, and so for me that's my biggest fear, is just hurting my head, which is why I always wear my helmet. But elbows, knee pads, forget it.
You should wear them.
Yeah.
So skaters have been notoriously known for being a rebellious group in general. That's, at least that was the stigma of the 80s, 90s or whatever. Is that still the case? Are they still very much a rebellious?
I think so.
I think it's a big aspect of it, but what I'm noticing personally is that is shifting a little bit, in a sense. Like just the fact that you see a mother and daughter skating, and it's becoming, from what I can see, more open to all walks of life. It's not just the rebellious, like hardcore, like skaters anymore. It's anyone can do it. And actually there was a woman that we met the other day who we like follow each other on Instagram, and she said that it's so nice seeing someone like us skating and breaking away from that stigma of, like you said, the rebellious, like hardcore skaters. We're still a little bit rebellious ourselves, but it's not that stereotype, I think.
Yeah.
And what would you say was the biggest challenge starting out, beyond obviously the challenge itself of the skateboarding, what was the biggest challenge when you got started?
That's a good question.
I think there's a few things for me anyway. One of them is the embarrassment of falling.
True. Yeah, I'll go with that one.
And that's something I hear a lot of other people say too. Also, just the thing of going to a skate park, it's a whole new environment, and that's really scary and daunting, and
It's intimidating.
yeah, I think if we didn't have each other, I know for me, like I probably wouldn't have started because I'd be too scared to go out to a skate park on my own because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Are people going to look at me and laugh? It's so scary starting something new when you're so out of place, and that was challenging. But because I had my mum to come with me and she was my safety blanket.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, that was one thing.
It's almost like you're rocking up to a skate park with a skateboard under your arm. Almost it's like there's this expectation that this person's going to kick flip and ollie, but yeah, walking in and going, I don't even really know how to stay on my board for 2 minutes. That was a challenge for me, just getting out there and knowing that I don't know. I'm going with a board under my arm, but I don't really know what to do other than roll. And that was a big thing. It was hard.
Yeah. We didn't know what kind of people we would run into, like what kind of people skaters were. And I think, yeah, like I said, I had that idea that they were going to be judging us or looking and being like, oh, look at them, they don't know how to skate. Whereas we were met with the complete opposite. And people have been so kind and helpful and encouraging. And so that kind of has helped overcome that fear in the beginning.
That's really nice. Did your bond increase? Are you guys closer because of this?
I think so. Like, I feel like we've always been really close.
Yeah.
But it's given us an excuse to hang out more.
It does. Yeah. So we probably wouldn't hang out as much, really, because you'd probably be doing your thing and I'd be doing my thing. But something, it's just so good that we share the same passion. It's awesome. Sometimes we'll lock horns while we're at the skate park.
We clash a little bit,
but
Who wins when you lock horns? I'm going to go with Mom. I'm sorry. Mom, I always got to give it up to moms. They could take you out, man. They brought you in to take you out.
Oh, she can. Totally. Yeah. But I think if I'm starting to get amped up about something, I think you just go.
I'll roll away. I'll get on the board. I'll roll away. I'll leave it.
The shiver, like, don't you roll away on me.
But it's mainly positive. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's really cool. I admire that a lot. Me and my daughter, we share a lot of things in common. So she's really into bodybuilding, weightlifting now. She's 15 and she used to be into rock climbing. She still likes it, but she's been so busy with school, she can't do everything. She's in other sports. So our sport together, what we do is like bodybuilding. And she's more of a powerlifting fanatic. She really loves it. And we've always been very close, but the fact that we have this passion that we both love, it has brought us closer together. And sometimes we're just chilling and we're like, you want to go to the gym? I want to go. You want to go? Yeah, let's go. For 2 hours and we push each other. And we'll talk, we'll even talk smack too. Like she'll be like, come on, you're weak, talk stuff. So it's nice. It's nice to push each other like that. I find our bond is stronger because of that common interest. So.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think we help to push each other as well.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Definitely motivate each other, push each other, encourage each other to learn that trick. No, don't give up.
Yeah, there's been times where I'll be like trying my hardest to do some kind of trick, whatever it may be. I'm just not getting it. I'm getting really down on myself. And then Mum will be like, what are you doing? You've got it. Just do it.
Yeah.
And then something clicks and I'm like, oh, yeah, I do have it. Okay. Yeah. And without her, I might not have done so well. I think we've helped each other get to where we are.
Yeah, 100%. Couldn't have done it without Britt there, for sure. 100%.
That's beautiful. Now, I have to ask you, because this whole thing is about health and longevity and all of that. Do you place much on that, or you just live and focus on this thing versus doing it for health? Or I know you mentioned mental health. Are you ever concerned with health and longevity and all of that? Or is it more so you're just living your life and enjoying it because you have this thing that you're so passionate about?
Yeah, I just live my life. I'm focused. I'm passionate. I don't focus too much on, I believe in balance with everything that I do. So they all go hand in hand. So I just feel that if I engage and I keep active and I keep a relatively good diet in my life, I believe that my body will be kinder to me as I'm aging, as opposed to not doing a sport or not eating well I'm not too strict on things and I don't plan and if I got to do this for X amount of years to keep this way, no, I go with the flow. One foot in front of the other each day as it presents, but always being mindful and keeping a good balance with everything that I do.
Awesome. And what about you, Britt?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I've never had much of a mindset that's been focused on health. I guess it's just we've been lucky that the things that I enjoy doing just happen to help with my diet's not great, so let's not talk about that. But physically, it just so happens that I've always been really sporty and love doing those things. And I do see the benefits of that. So I think as I'm getting older, it's something I know I need to think about a bit more. But yeah, like I said, I think it's just lucky that the things that I love doing are healthy and they're keeping me fit and active. And yeah.
That's cool. So if you had to give somebody advice older in their years, above the age of 50 or whatnot, and they're on the fence about starting something that maybe is interesting to them, or it could be anything, doesn't have to be skateboarding, of course. What would you say for somebody who's on the fence that kind of can't get that push to go for it?
I just think that always be your own advocate, your own supporter, know what your body can do. Don't have to conform with the norm. Listen to yourself. Listen to what your body says. If you want to do something and you want to try it, do it. Doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It's not important. What's important is what you think and how it makes you feel at the end of the day. So don't ever feel restricted by what society says, or you can't do this or you can't do that. Your body's going to be the best indicator every single time that you do something. But your mind, we can have a thought of something, we want to do it. Is the body willing? How do you know? You don't know if you don't try it. So why not try? I could use the example of skateboarding. I had the idea, I had the thought, I want to do that. But when I go to do it, is my body going to allow me to do it? Okay, there's only one way to find out. So I did it. I threw myself in there and did it and was like, you know what? Yeah, shit, this is great. I can do it. Listen to the body. It's the best teacher. A thought is a thought. We all have them. But if you don't action it, then how are you never going to know? So my advice would be just go for it. Do it. 100%.
That's great advice. And what about you as the daughter of somebody with that mindset? Because I'm sure there's a lot of people who have parents who are older and they're just like, maybe even encouraging their parents to like, no, mom, you shouldn't do this. You should rest. You should relax, this and that, which I'm not that kind of person. But I think a lot of people in the younger age, a lot of them are like that, where they're telling their parents, oh, you're too old for that. Or what would you say to, because now you have a different perspective, I'm sure. So if you have friends who are like, oh no, my mom's too old for that, you're probably like, no, she's not. What would you say for somebody in more so your shoes that have the potential to inspire their parent or their grandparents to do something? Do you have a message for them?
I suppose just going on from the same thing, but even if there's something that you want to do and you think, I can't do that, like my mum said, you're not going to know until you try. Because even where we are at now within skateboard, I had that thing of, I don't know if I can do it. But if you just go out and do it, you will prove yourself wrong most of the time. In that sense, if you have that mindset of, oh, I don't know if I can or I can't do it, just go for it. Just try it. And the worst that can happen is for whatever reason it doesn't work out. But again, you don't know until you try. And one of the initial thoughts that I had when I got into skateboarding was, I don't want to be on my deathbed going, I didn't do that thing that I wanted to do. And what could have happened if I did try it? And now I'm seeing that like firsthand. This is what happens when you do go out and try new things, and you can do more than you think you're capable of sometimes. And it's massive, like you said before, it's the power of your mind, I think. You push yourself and you'll achieve great things.
Yeah, that's a beautiful message. So what's your plan now? What do you guys have planned moving forward? Do you guys have milestones beyond your plans of, okay, we got to do this trick and then this? Do you guys have a game plan for perhaps how to turn this into a lucrative thing or a business opportunity from it? Or what's your guys' plan in the next year to 3 years, if you don't mind sharing it? You guys have one?
Do you have any? I personally don't. This is where we differ. I tend to just focus on the skateboarding and having fun and all this stuff's happening as a result of it. Yeah, great. That's awesome. But I think Britt might be on a different mindset than me. I've got no plans. I've never been a big planner anyway. It takes skateboarding out of the picture. It's just going with the flow and just enjoying it, just loving and just wanting to do bigger and better things. But in terms of the sport, like outside of that, for me, no.
I think initially for me it was the same, and it still is. We're doing what we love doing, but because a few of the videos that I've made on Instagram have started going viral, and the one clip that I imagine you probably found us from, 1.8 million views or something, and we've had so many different people reach out to us, and I think I see potential for things with that, but I'm not setting myself to do anything in particular. I think we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. We love skateboarding. I love making clips and making videos and editing it and putting it all together. And if something comes from that, great. But if not, we're still doing what we love. Yeah, it's no set thing. If something comes from it, great. But if not, then yeah, we just keep having fun. And it's
where it's about.
Yeah, I love, like you mentioned earlier, you just did it as a form of accountability, just to put it out there, almost like a diary. And so I'm sure to get all this attention, it's holy shit, you probably didn't expect it. And I've seen a lot of cool stories where people literally changed their entire career doing just that. They started documenting something. There's a famous bodybuilder dude who he was just recording himself talking, and his videos just blew up. And he's literally no production, nothing. And now that's all he does now. That's what I was curious, because I love your videos, actually. I'm not, like I said, I don't skateboard, but I appreciate what you guys are doing. And I watch the videos and I'm like, yeah, I like this stuff. Because I can see the passion. I think people just love when somebody loves something, because it reminds you of that inner child. Man, I'm blessed that I have a few things that I love on that level. And some people don't. So watch your videos and you probably get them hyped up. You get them pumped up. Man, I'm going to go take up whatever sport. So I don't think you guys realize how much of an impact it makes. It really does make an impact for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think even aside from if we could make money from it, great. But it's not even that. It's like the amount of messages and comments of people saying that you're inspiring us to not just skate, but do whatever it may be. We've had so many people say, oh, I'm this age and I'm learning to play the drums, or I'm this age and I'm learning this. And it's just that itself, we gain so much from it. Exactly. Like, we're shocked that people think that, but it's amazing. And it's so nice that we're able to do that.
It's interesting too, just because one of the videos, it's not the one that went viral, one of my other ones that went off pretty big. I still remember one day we were sitting down having breakfast and Britt's phone was blowing up. She goes, oh, Mum, that video I put in a view, it's going off its head. And I said to her, oh, no, why'd you put that video in? I said, that's embarrassing. She goes, why is it? I said, because again, my expectations of myself sometimes are a bit higher. And I go, oh, I look so bad, it ought to be better. She goes, no, that's going off. Then when I started reading the comments on it and how many views and likes and comments and shares, and I was like, what? That's insane. And it all went from there. And then the other video, and it's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's insane. Never expected it. Well, it's been great.
So my background is in marketing. If you guys ever need tips, I think we're friends now. So you can hit me up and ask you ask me some questions. I can give you guys some tips on potentially how to monetize it in a great way, so you're making a positive difference. If you guys ever have an interest in some ideas, I can guide you guys. Like I said, we're friends now, so I'm happy to help you guys. I love what you guys are getting in your message, and you could definitely leverage the audience that way. So that would be really cool. Even if you just sell t-shirts. Mom and daughter skateboarding.
Yeah, I think so. I'd probably sell out.
I like the idea of that, and like I said, to be able to make money from it would be great. But as long as I don't want to steer away from what we're doing as well, because I see a lot of skater influencers and they're all doing a certain thing, and I don't want to take away from what we're doing either, like showing our progress. But I think as long as we stay true to that, and if we can make money doing that, I'm all for it. Yeah. So if you have tips, then
like, and the cool thing is that you guys are genuine, and you're coming from this from a legit passion. It's not from I want to make money from it. It's hey, I just love this, and people can sense that. People can really weed through the bullshit, and even just a little thing like, hey, this is the type of skateboard we use, or this is the gear, and I recommend it because I love it, and you get a commission from promoting it, but because you actually believe in it. There's nothing wrong with that, because there's people who are looking at you with trust and saying, hey, what do you recommend? And you are helping them. Everybody wins. So that's an idea. That's just one way where you promote something that you get a commission into it. Not to turn this into some kind of marketing thing, but I just love to see people win because to me, it's a win-win.
Yeah, we could do this. We're doing what we love. And if you could do that for a living, it would be incredible. We'll see what happens.
See what happens with that. Yeah.
Yeah, then you show up with Versace on your skateboard, and
No biggie, yeah.
you get comments like, "You guys have changed."
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Show up in your Lamborghini.
I know. No, always remain humble.
Yeah, for sure. I really love it. I think we can wrap this up because you guys really answered most of my questions. I was mostly curious about where you're headed, what direction you think you're going to be heading with this, because I want you guys to keep making the content. I love it. It shows up on my feed.
Okay, we'll keep doing that.
So where can everybody find you? Websites, Instagrams? I'm going to put it in the show notes, but if you could say it real quick.
Sure. We're mainly only just on Instagram at the moment. I am trying to put more content. We have a TikTok and a YouTube account now. TikTok only has one video. YouTube has nothing yet, but I am working on that. But for anyone that does want to find us, you can find us on Instagram at 2girlsskate. So it's number 2 girls SK8.
Okay. And what about the YouTube and TikTok?
So same thing, 2girlsskate.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Any websites?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. See if you can grab the 2 Girls Skate website.
For sure. Yeah.
Definitely.
Buy it before this comes out because somebody will grab it.
Yeah, true.
I don't want them to do that. So I'll make sure I let you know before it's live. But yeah, grab it before somebody will take it from me just to resell it to you at a super inflated price. There's literally people that do that for a living. So grab it.
Wow.
Grab the .com.
Yeah,
Do it.
2 girls skate. Yeah.
There's a little tip for you. So I'll make sure you grab it before this goes anywhere. So don't worry. Yeah, that's awesome. Do you guys have anything else you want to say? Any questions? Anything?
Thank you for inviting us to do this. And
Yeah, it's really great.
something like something new for us. Grateful for that.
I was a bit nervous. I was like, I've never done this before. I don't know what to do. What are we doing? Yeah, but yeah.
You made it very easy for us. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just genuinely curious. So I'm a very nosy in a good way. I'm always a very inquisitive person. I love to understand people's psychology and what drives them. I love it. So that's really cool. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this as well. I'm really grateful for that as well. And hopefully we can do a part 2.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you guys so much. I guess we can wrap it up here.
Yep, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. If possible, leave a review. Your support really helps the podcast grow, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Remember to sign up for my free 5 health hacks newsletter at youthfulagingsecrets.com/subscribe. I wish you good health, and I'll see you in the next episode.